What's going on, guys? In this video, if you could tell from the title, we are going to be turning this old pallet into my new bed headboard. Now, originally I wanted to use the whole pieces intact, but since they have these nails in there and I don't want that to come out in the final product, I'm going to have to cut in between them. Now, obviously this is going to take some time because I have to put a 2x4 into place, measure it so it's equal, it's even to the other side, because obviously if I cut one side a little bit off, the other side is going to be completely off and it's going to be very noticeable. So it's worth those extra 10 minutes to place the board, measure it, make sure it's straight. After I got the pellets out, the next thing is to actually get the board that I'm going to be screwing the pellet boards to. And I'm going to be using this 3/4 inch plywood that I had laying around, cutting it to width, and in this case it's going to be 61 inches because I have a queen size bed. Then once I got all that done, it's obviously just time to screw in the pellet boards. And I have to be very careful to recess the screws a little bit more than what I typically need because I'm going to be using the planer for the next step to make it smooth, and I don't want the planer to catch one of those nails and breaking or chipping off my planer knife. And then once I'm done planing the boards, next thing is to sand, more sanding, and sand. A lot of sanding. First I hit it with the 50 grit to get the lot of rough areas off, then the 100, then the 150, and then I believe I went 180, but then I stopped to put some of this plastic filler in. I put some of this plastic wood filler to cover up the screws. And then once I have all that done, the next step, torch it. And I'm going to be using my mini torch because I don't have a bigger torch. I know, there's torches out there that could get this job done in 5 minutes, but since I have this mini torch laying around, I'm going to use it. I don't really feel like going out and buying a new torch. And then once I have that done, the next thing, I'm actually going to be staining it. But before I stain it, I'm going to be using some of this pre-stained wood conditioner because if I don't use that, the stain comes out all blotchy and it doesn't look good. First time I stained it, I did that mistake, and I will never make that mistake ever again. And then once I waited 30 to 45 minutes for the pre-conditioner to soak in, that's when I hit it with the red oak stain, the same red oak stain that I used for the vintage 40s chairs. If you haven't seen that video, I loved it so much that I decided to use it on this board. And if you could see here, this is the first coat and it already came out amazing. And then the next step is to cut off the excess on either side. Why I didn't do this before I stained it, I have no idea. I wasn't thinking straight. I think I just wanted to see how it came out stained and I was eager, jumped the gun, so forgive me. But once I cut off the excess, the next step is to bevel the edges so I don't accidentally cut myself with the rough edge, and it looks a little bit better, a little bit more finished, a little bit more higher quality. Again, why I didn't do this before I stained it, no clue, because after I did this, I realized that I had to restain the edges or reburn, restain, and all that fun stuff. So since I had more of the 3/4 inch board laying around, I decided to use it as the legs. So in this clip, I'm cutting the board in halves, and this is going to be the piece that connects the headboard to the frame. And then I'm going to paint everything black. I'm going to be painting the back of the board black. I'm going to be painting the legs black just because I felt like it. I don't know. No, I'm just joking. I had this black paint left over from years and years ago, so I'm just using it on everything, every nook and cranny. Honestly, there's so many things I've used this black paint for and it's still here. I still have a bunch of it left over. So that's what I'm doing here, just painting everything black so it's less noticeable and a much more cleaner look, in my opinion. And then once I let it dry, next step, the fun part, is attaching it to the bed frame. And here I'm using 2 screws with washers. And this part is actually very difficult because the board is really heavy. So on one side I had to use clamps to hold it in place, screw it on one side, level it, and then screw it on the other side. And that was it. I was done. Once I had that, this is how it came out. Not the best job in the world, but for my first job and for a free project, basically, it came out all right. Coming from this to this. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.